Hi everyone. We all have these days when you just can't get a break.
Dude, what are you doing?
I knocked.
I have my headphones on!
Okay.
Get out!
Your favorite mug smashes, you miss your bus, the phone is down on charge at the worst possible moment, and it seems the whole universe is against you, and you can't do anything about it.
Get out of here!
But don't get upset. Sometimes you can get lucky when you least expect it. Don't believe us? Then look at the people from today's video. They know exactly what it's like to be favored by fortune. Let's get it on. Every person who decides to climb a tall mountain risks their life, especially if they're climbing the ice slope with hooks and other equipment like special shoes. You can't really be a mountain climber without luck. Every conqueror of the peaks has at least one story when they got incredibly lucky, and sometimes there is video footage to prove it. You can see the man climbing on the ice when there's running water. He must have had a good reason for selecting this route. Good thing the guys with the camera found a rope, because as soon as they fastened it to the belt, a piece of ice suddenly slipped down.
He's climbing, he's falling.
Got him. Got you. I still got you.
Talk about real luck. We don't even want to think about what would happen if it weren't for the rope. However, it's not so difficult to imagine the possible outcome. The mountain is pretty tall. These drag bike riders reach the speed of 300 kilometers per hour. We can see hundreds of spectators, hear the roar of the engines, and there can be only one winner. Things are getting tense, and then one of the riders suddenly crashes into the other at full speed. That's a nightmare. An accident is inevitable, and there'll probably be human casualties. Doctors are already rushing to the rescue, but on that day, luck was clearly on the side of the riders. One of them is flung off his bike and onto the wheelie bar of his competitor, while his own bike stopped and caught fire. Luckily, no one was hurt, well, except for the bike. Base jumping is a hobby for those who like to risk their lives and always hope that luck is on their side. After all, something always can go wrong, and the adrenaline seeker can pay for it with their life. This video was taken in Norway, where the base jumper was apparently trying to launch off a horizontal bar standing right on the edge of a cliff. Yes, these thrill seekers sometimes do crazy things, but the mounts weren't strong enough, and during the spin, the bar just collapsed and fell into the abyss together with the man. A 1,200 meter tall rock, sharp stones, lack of insurance, no chance of survival. Nevertheless, luck smiled on the man on that day. He managed to open the parachute during the fall and landed successfully. Well, we hope that this man, who actually is the father of 5 children, won't take such risks anymore. After all, luck might not be on his side next time. Falling from a 45-meter cliff and not getting a single scratch? This is quite possible, even without a parachute, if you're lucky enough. Well, it'd also be good to have skis, as well as a lot of snow below. Within these few seconds, when the skier realized that he was falling, his whole life flashed before his eyes.
I think I'm good.
We don't recommend to repeat the stunt either, especially if the winter is not very snowy. One of the internet users called this video a perfect miss, and you know, that's quite a fitting name. This miss is really perfect, because the ball flew right in the open window of a passing car. Take a closer look. This is both the luckiest and the unluckiest kick in history. Yeah, the boy didn't break the glass, but now how will he get his ball back? When you first watch this video, it seems that the truck is, dancing? Look, the only thing missing is the right music, and this would make a good viral video, I think. But in fact, the driver who was handling this truck was very lucky. We don't even want to think about what would have happened if he'd lost control right in the middle of the bridge. The guys who filmed that video were also in danger. A little less luck, and we'd see a scene from Final Destination.
Boy, he got lucky.
Yeah.
A baseball that hits a person in the face can cause a nasty fracture. Well, you know, a fracture after which you'd be able to eat only apple sauce for a month. But if you have a really good reaction and a glove in your hand, then this can result in a great face-saving catch. Perfect precision, just perfect. Chopping a tree when there's a whole crowd of people nearby is a very, very, very bad idea. Even if you're a true professional, things can get out of control at any point, and the tree, which a second ago was falling into the intended spot, can suddenly change trajectory and start falling right on the crowd. It's not surprising that the audience panicked and began to scatter. Anyone would do the same in this situation. But the real miracle is that these three fellows did not get hurt. And although the tree was old and dry, the fall could have resulted in a real massacre. Scoring baskets without even looking at the hoop means two things. First, you're cool, and second, you are very lucky. Indeed, in such a situation, you can't really take aim. You can only hope for the best. 9 out of 10 such throws will probably be unsuccessful, and even for the 10th time, you still might miss. But sometimes, if you're really, really lucky, you might score. Just like that. Racing is a very dangerous sport, and not just because of the sharp turns. Sometimes emergencies occur right at the start, and then the race could end right there. Just imagine how scary it would have been to see it all with your own eyes. The driver must have been terrified. However, he turned out to be a real professional and regained control of the car just in time, but it could have ended in a tragedy. This video was shot in Denmark in May 2012. A Kia car was driving along the road and suddenly lost its wheel. Perhaps this happened after the collision with a post, or maybe just because of a malfunction. Unfortunately, it's hard to tell, but this is not so important, because the main thing is, the wheel didn't stop. No, it continued to move at a high speed and rolled towards the sidewalk, where a pedestrian was texting. The story could have ended nasty if the guy walked a little faster, or if the wheel had slightly changed its trajectory. It's a real miracle no one got hurt. Doing any sport during a particularly strong wind is frankly not the best idea. The wind will mess with your aim, whether you're trying to score a goal or hit a target with a bow and arrow. It's simply impossible to calculate the trajectory of any projectile under such conditions. That's because the wind is an absolutely unpredictable phenomenon. Unless you can bend the elements or have an unlimited supply of luck, though. Do you know the feeling when everything was just fine, and suddenly you trip on a flat surface? Don't get upset though, this happens to many people, but not everyone gets filmed by a camera. Otherwise there'd be way more funny videos on the internet. But the coolest thing about this situation, of course, is not even that the guy managed to hold on to the edge of the truck, but that a driver helped him. The most incredible things always happen when you least expect them. It's a summer day, the sun is shining, the guy in the red t-shirt seems to be talking on the phone and slowly walking towards the bus stop. Everything seems fine, when suddenly, oh, crane! Watch out for the crane! You can imagine the power of the blow and the weight of the structure, because it damaged and almost crashed a large advertising billboard. It also set off the alarm of the car parked nearby. Well, the guy in the red t-shirt was really lucky, because a second ago, he was standing right at the spot where the crane fell. The internet is full of videos showing people falling during the performance of some trick. A few years ago, these videos quickly became viral, but sometimes such falls end unexpectedly well, as for example in this case.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's not very clear why this guy climbed into the garage with a snowboard and what he wanted to achieve, but luck was definitely on his side. Wearing helmets is a must at the construction site. Any builder will say this, and there's nothing surprising about it. Sometimes the most common plastic helmet can save your life. Of course, if a huge concrete slab falls on you, the helmet won't save you, but at a construction site there are many other dangers. For example, a sharp metal plate, which could fly right into one's head. Luckily, the helmet did its job, and no one was hurt. This situation probably happened to many of you. Just imagine, you went to the toilet and of course you took your smartphone with you, but it didn't fit into the front pocket of the jeans, so you put the device in the back pocket. What could possibly go wrong? Of course, at the worst possible moment, the phone suddenly slips out of the pocket and goes straight into the toilet. A loud splash, the cry of horror. You need to put your hands where you don't really want them to be, and drying and repairing the device. But some people are really lucky even at such moments. Now we see why phone manufacturers make them larger every year.